Okay, next thing. These are lead-ins. And we already kind of showed one of those, and that's when I took the rifle sample and reversed it so it leads into the rifle hit. I really like that one because it kind of sounds like the Matrix or something, like slow motion. These help you also, I mean, they can help you with transitioning into actual sounds, but it can also help you transitioning into parts. I'll show you what I mean. So going into the verse, we have a reverse crash. Sounds like this. Okay, so I'm going to play that within the song. Now, that part kind of already transitions pretty well because it has that nice snare roll that happens. But I kind of felt like it wasn't enough, so that's why we have the reverse crash in there. I'll show you what it sounds like without it. So, I mean, hopefully you agree with me, that just sounds kind of flat. Just sounds like a snare roll and then the part starts. So by adding this reverse crash and this additional crash, it just makes the transition going from that part into the verse way more exciting. Reverse crash is like so easy. It's like the most basic thing ever. You just start with an extra crash hit that you've recorded. You can just literally tell the drummer, hey, I want you to hit the crash, and then you record him doing it. And then you just save that on your hard drive, and you can import that into your sessions over and over again. And then you just drag it into your session, put it where you want it to start, and then I'm going to hold Alt and drag it backwards, which creates a copy, cut it off, select it, and then reverse it. And that's how you get the reverse crash. Now, with reverse crashes, there is a tiny little part here right before, or well, right where the transient of the drumstick hitting the cymbal is. And it kind of creates like a little bit of a silence. You can hear it. If that wasn't there, it would sound like this. So that silence actually helps to make it a little bit more impactful versus the other way. There are going to be some situations where you want it to be smoother. What I like to do for that is take the crash itself, select it, and then choose like a tiny, like maybe 128th note or like a 64th note, and click on move left. So now that's moved it left once, and then trim start right. So when you do that, it's like it's the equivalent of doing this. See? So once you click that, now your crash cymbal cuts off the transient and just starts with a crash instead of. So now that you have that, you just go about doing the reverse crash like you normally would, like this. And then when you reverse it, it'll be a lot smoother, like this. And you can experiment with different timings because the more you do it, the more it'll be different. So this would be a 32nd note. Sounds like this. So it just all depends on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. Just experiment, because this stuff's fun anyway. Reverse snares. These are trickier. I'm going to show you some tricks on how to do the reverse snares better in Cubase. So let's say you've decided that, let's see if I even have any reverse snares in this song. I don't think I do. I'm going to put one here, I think. All right, cool. So we have this big snare hit. All that really is just a snare room sample like this. It's like just putting a mic in a room and hitting a snare, and then putting reverb and some distortion on it. I put a little bit of distortion to bring out the mid-range. See how it sounds a little bit more scooped without the distortion. So you add the distortion in. Just gives you a little bit more mid-range. And I've also taken out some 4K. And then I ran it through a reverb, just really simple reverb. That's the snare bomb. So if I want to reverse that, I'll show you how to do it. Start by duplicating the track, selecting all the events and deleting them. So now we have a copy of this track's settings, but we don't have any audio in it. And then I'm going to go to up here and go to the quantize mode. I'm going to go to events. So this will make all of my edits stick to the events in the song. And now that I've done that, I'm going to hold Alt and drag the snare sample backwards until it snaps like that. So now it's snapped to the snare. And then just reverse that. And you should get... Now one thing you'll notice is at the end of that reverse snare, there's kind of a really trebly click sound. What will happen often with reverse snares is that click sound will happen twice, because it gets to the end of the reverse, plays the click, and then also gets to the beginning of the next snare hit and plays the click. And you get kind of a little flam sound. Now, it didn't really happen on here, but I'm going to remove the effects and see if we can hear it. Yeah. Okay. Do you guys hear that flam sound? So, on every track in Cubase, there's this thing that has a clock with two arrows next to it, and you can move it left and right. This is your track delay. So you can actually manually put in track delay. So if I want to put like 600, that'd be 600 milliseconds, I believe. Notice how it came in much later? That's because this whole track now is offset by 600 milliseconds. But you can also type in micro units, so I can put like a 1. Or like a 10. So if I do the 0, which is, no offset, kind of hear that flam sound, but if I type in 10, that flam sound goes away. You guys hear that? So that's how I do reverse snares. And what's cool is you can just do this, it's for the whole track. So as you continue to put additional reverse snares in the song, as long as you're using the same snap to event thing that we did, it'll all line up. So we're lining up the events, and then we've got the offset to take care of us on the flams, and then we can listen to what it sounds like. Cool. Reverse synthesizer. You can do, I like to do this a lot. This is a cool trick. So like this part just comes out of nowhere, it just starts. Like just right on the downbeat, boom, like tons of melody comes in. You could preemptively have that melody fade in with a reverse note, which actually would be kind of cool for this song. So what I'll do is I'll take this first synth note, sounds like this, and I'm gonna just cut it out from the original performance, and then I'm gonna duplicate it back here, and then go reverse. And then if I fade that in, it sounds like this. Yeah, so that goes. Okay, not the best example ever. Let's see if there's somewhere else where it makes sense. Okay, perfect example. So we're going into a chorus. We can make this transition even smoother by taking the first chord that's playing on the synth. We take that, we copy and paste that before the chord comes in, we reverse it. Fade that in. No. That's kind of cool. You can actually make these kind of transitions can be made more impactful if you're using pitch as well. So if I go into pitch envelopes, I can actually start like an octave lower and then go up to the octave, so it sounds like this. So that'll sound like we're actually going into the next chord. Let me do. You've got these tools here too at the top that allow you to have different types of fade-in shapes. So you got like your linear and then your parabolic shapes. Kind of sounds like that THX sound, right?
Yeah, it does.
So then you just throw that in there, and that'll actually help to transition into the chorus chord. Let me make it like really loud so we can hear it. See what I'm talking about. Actually, I'm going to change the way that works. There we go. I think it would sound better if it was the opposite of this shape, so I'm going to go more like this. There we go. Now I'm using the poly musical mode. That's going to give you your best sound. I'm also using time correction because if you don't, it'll make the sample longer, so it sounds like this. And we don't want that because we already defined how many bars we want it to do. So I have to keep time correction turned on. And this is called a pitch envelope for the people who aren't familiar with it. And it sounds like this. And then in the song, it would go like this. A lot of times we actually call those risers. You can actually build risers with MIDI too. You don't have to do it like this audio way that we just did it. You can literally take a chord like this from this MIDI track here. And then you just go into the pitch bend and do like a parabolic shape like this. And then you just assign some kind of instrument to it. So I could like send this to the embracer pad that we have on this. And then typically the plugin will have its own controls for how, what your pitch bend actually means. So for this particular one, let's see, where can I change it? Yeah, it looks like this one doesn't have, I don't see the options to do it. But some plugins let you say, oh, I want my pitch bend to control over 2 octaves or over 3 octaves or just one. Looks like Embracer doesn't have that, so just depends on what you're working with. You could use a different synth too. Let's see. See what this sounds like. Pitch bend range. So here's the knob right here. If you like crank it up, it probably goes really low. Yeah. I don't like all that delay. Get rid of it. Yeah. So we're just building a riser now. All I did was I took the chord from the chorus and I put it in front of the chorus, and then I added the parabolic pitch bend. And then I'm going to just print this to audio now. So I'm just going to take like my range selection tool and just select like a little bit of area here. Hit the P key. What that does is it sets your locators to your selection. So if like you select something and hit P, it puts your locators there. And I know this is going to ring out. Like if you play it, you can hear that it rings out. So I actually want to keep that. So I'm selecting beyond where it ends so that that gets bounced out. And then I'm just going to do a print. And I'm going to call it monologue. And then over here in your channel selection area is what channel you're bouncing. So I'm going to just choose the monologue channel because that's the only thing I want to bounce out. And then I'm putting it back into the session folder. And I'm going to import it into a track. So it'll have its own track when it's done. So there's my little riser sound. I'm just going to get rid of the MIDI now and remove the VST. And now I just have this little sample. And I think it sounds kind of weird, so I'm going to put some sound effects on it to make it sound cooler. So I'm going to start with like distortion. I like to put distortion on synths a lot. Cool, and there's kind of a weird, I don't know what you call it, there's like a weird frequency at the end. I'm going to actually get rid of it with EQ. So This is the kind of crazy stuff that we do at 4 a.m. Just looping these stupid sounds and messing around with EQ. So I'm just going to loop it. It's going to be annoying for a minute, and I apologize, but that's part of all of this stuff. So yeah, I like that better. Let's hear what it sounds like in the song. So I think that sounds really cool, especially in moderation. Just having it kind of tucked under there, it gives it a little bit more energy and helps it rise into the chorus. And you could, once you have that sound, you can like just use it wherever you want. I might even put it before a different part, like maybe before the breakdown or something, before the riff. The other thing you can do is bass risers as well. Those are kind of fun, and I'll show you how to do that with Sub Destroyer. Let me go and put in a new Sub Destroyer. Sub Destroyer is really cool because it has all the automation modes. So you can do these bass risers by automating this frequency knob. As long as this is held down, it plays a bass frequency. So what you could do is, like, if I put this in write mode and I just hit play and I hold the button down where I want my bass riser to happen, then I can go back and automate the frequency. So I'll show you. So I just basically held down the button where I wanted the bass riser to start. It doesn't matter if I get it perfectly on time because I can just move it afterwards. So I'm just going to move it back like this. And now I've got this thing that just plays a bass. That's all it does. But I can also automate this frequency knob. So if I go in and go to my automation lane here, and I click this plus sign, it adds an additional automation lane. And then if I click on this parameter name here, I can choose what I want to automate. So I'm going to go into More. I'm going to go into Sub Destroyer, and then I'm going to pick Automate Frequency. Now with Automate Frequency, I can start at any frequency and I can end at any frequency. So if I do like just a diagonal line like this, it'll sound like this. And I can do different shapes like this. Or like this. So I like this one, and let's hear what it sounds like in the song. It goes a little bit too high, so I can just lower the frequency like this. And that's how you do a bass riser.